All right, so we're going to move on to the last topic of this episode. If you want to hear us banter about the other topic more, email us. Tell us your thoughts. But this is our top 5 board games to play with 3 players. Now, I would assume you guys didn't just put 3-player only games on your list.
You would be incorrect.
Did you only put 3-player games?
Those are the best 3-player games.
No, actually, I didn't only put 3-player games, but I did put down games that were clearly designed with 3 players in mind.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe the game plays 1 to 5 or 2 to 5, but
no. The game plays
3 players.
The game plays either 2 or 3.
Oh.
Mine's different. So let's go around this. George, would start with you.
Actually, there are a couple on my list that don't follow that. But if I just made a list of games that played best at 3, but were played all these different counts, I'd just be picking my top 10 games, the top 5 games.
Well, no, I mean,
because almost all games can play with 3 players, and it's fine. And if they're games that I love, then I'll pick those.
I think I pick games that specifically you can play with 3 players, but it's the best player count because of some kind of rules change or the way the game's played.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, just so you know, mine were sort of with 3 players in mind when the game was designed. So, for example, the first one that I have, number 5, is Beasts of Balance Battle.
Oh, yeah.
Because in that game, you have either air creatures or land creatures or sea creatures, and you're going up against the other 2. And it's this delightful dexterity game with a very
that's a pretty fun game.
Interesting
I like that
component.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's good with 2, though.
No, it is good with 2, of course, but it's
better
clearly
with 3.
designed for 3.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Awesome cards and components.
Yep. I really enjoy dexterity games. So.
All right, Eric, what's yours?
Number 5 for me is Smash Up. I played it with 2 and it's no good. Skip it. but at 3, I think it is much better. Any kind of area control game you do kind of want at least a third party.
For king-making purposes.
That's right. But even at 4 on this one, maybe the downtime is kind of lengthy. So I do like it at best at 3.
What was it again? I was typing mine out in the right order. Smash Up. No, that makes sense because, well, the only problem I feel like is if you're playing with 3 and somebody's doing bad, you can kind of gang up on them.
You don't want to gang up on the person that's doing bad. You want to gang up on the person that's doing good.
I mean, but sometimes that doesn't work out.
Not always.
Yeah, that can happen. You're right.
Yeah, I kind of like it more with 4. But it's your list.
Yeah.
My number 5 is this is the only game that you can only play with 3, and it's Chimera. And if you've ever played Teach You, it's basically a 3-player Teach You.
Yep.
On my short list.
The difference is that when you shuffle the cards and hand them out, somebody's going to get the Chimera card or whatever card it is, and they become the Chimera and play against the other 2 people. So for that round, even though you're only temporarily aligned with the other player.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Have you played it?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, I really like I think I have the Z-Man version, and they come out with another version. The art looked garbage.
Oh.
I did not like the...
I don't know why they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had fantastic art.
Yeah.
Not that it had a lot of art, but the style.
Okay. Well, art is very subjective.
Yeah, I'll show you. Keep going.
Okay. I'll probably agree with you. All right. My number 4 is Greenland / Neanderthal because they're
I've been wanting to try Neanderthal.
Yeah, it's a really clever Phil Eklund game, which means it's incredibly complicated. And it's one that is definitely best with 3 players. The original was, I think Neanderthal still is, but particularly in Greenland's case, the original Greenland was designed only for, not only, but you had 3 tribes, the Thule and the Tunit and the Norse. And then they added a 4th tribe with the redo that they did on Kickstarter recently. Who are they? I've forgotten. But anyway, I've played it.
Important.
It's not important. And it was designed for 3 players, and it's both of those games are games that are Phil Eklund games that I enjoy.
Cool. And it comes in a little bitty box, right?
Little bitty box.
That was actually
how can it hold all those rules?
Right. A big game in a little bitty box.
Absolutely.
Number 4 for me is Splendor. I just kind of like the fast paced. I think it plays fine at 2, but I think this one is another one that's best at 3. So it gives you, time to strategize, and but it doesn't, it doesn't have too many players where you can't get the things that you need.
That's fair. I do like playing it with 4.
Oh my games.
And I like 2 players in Splendor, which is really weird.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of 2-player games, but when I have played it 2 players, it's been really fun because it's almost like a chess match.
Yeah, and this one it's not too
quick.
bad at 2.
Yeah.
I agree.
My next one.
Your list is wrong, Eric.
No, I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, my opinion's too. My number 4 is Fury of Dracula. Because
With 3?
with 3.
Yeah.
Because there's 4. Well, in the I
this
think
one's higher
Fantasy
over mine.
Flight.
Maybe I'll interject a little bit.
We'll come back to this one.
All right. I'll come back to this one.
Oh, okay.
Eric's saying he has it.
Might be higher on his list. Okay.
It is.
All right, so my number 3 is a game called Koning van Siam, which is King of Siam. And
yes.
it was redone.
I had this game.
It was redone as The King is Dead.
Yes, I haven't played the newer version, but I had the older one, which I thought was only a 2-player game.
No, it's a 3-player game.
Yeah, it's 3. This is one of the only games I would rate a 1. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
What?
This
is so good.
No. It might be
game
good.
is tremendous.
I had a very, very bad playthrough, so I'm very biased. I think it probably is a really good game.
We should try it.
Yes.
But
I mean, it's been years since I played it.
I'll tell you exactly what.
I remember it was really good.
The idea in the game where you have these factions that have power, and you gain power with the factions by taking their cube into your possession, but in doing so you take it off the board, which reduces the power of the faction that you've just gained more power in. Is amazing. So good.
Yeah.
I didn't know we played this twice in a row, which was really weird, and I won the first game.
There you go.
So
it's a quick playing thinky Euro.
Yeah, and Eric, you won the second game.
All right, we got to play it. 3 of us. I'll win this.
We played 2 players the second time.
Okay.
And
So
that
it
was
does play 2.
That was back in
All right.
2014 October.
14. Yeah, 5 years ago.
Fantastic game.
Wow.
My number 3.
All right, number 3 for me is Lewis and Clark. It's a great racing engine building game.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that one.
Okay.
My number 3 is 5 Tribes.
Yes, we'll come back to that one.
I guess it's gonna be a very short list. We haven't done it like this before.
All right, so just going on. My number, what are we on? 2?
Yep.
Yeah, my number 2. Oh, this game, The Road to Canterbury, is a game that
And we'll come back to this? No.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
it can play 2 players, but it was definitely designed with 3 in mind. And this game is another quick playing card-based sort of Euro game, which is area control, and it has an amazing theme where you are you're dealing with petitioners on the road to Canterbury, and so you're absolving them of their sins, and you're selling them these indulgences, but then later on you're leading them into sin as well, so you can sell them more, which
Sounds awesome.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so good. And in this game, the 7 deadly sins really are deadly. So if someone gets their 7th sin, they die. So you're causing their death at the same time that you're taking their money.
Wow. Road to Canterbury? That sounds awesome.
The Road to Canterbury, it's probably my favorite 3-player
game.
Specifically 3-player game. And designed by Alf Siegert. It's one of my first ones of his that I got, and I love it to death.
Wow. Sounds awesome.
So good.
Three?
Number 3.
Did you just do 3?
I did 2.
2. Number 2, Eric.
Number 2.
Blast through this because we have a lot of ties, apparently.
Number 2. 5 Tribes. Going off Tim's there.
My number 3.
It doesn't. It's not bad at 2. I actually don't mind it at 2, but at 3 it does. I believe shine a little bit better. At 4, downtime is gonna be too long. The game state changes too much for you to pick what you're gonna do on your turn. So that's why I think it is best at 3.
I also think it's best at 3 specifically because the state of the board changes too much, and because 2 players is actually a different strategy altogether. Because each player gets 2 things,
double turns and whatnot,
and you can do double turns, and
which
so
I actually kind of like. But yeah,
it's more competitive. I think at 2, 3 players, it's more of a, it's a different game. It's obviously the same game, but it feels like a different game because the strategy and what you can do is a little bit different. Because you can set up combos in a 2-player game,
right?
And you can't really do as much comboing in 3 or 4
because the board state would change so much.
Correct. Yeah, you can't just like move all these things and then now you piled up a bunch of greens and go set them off.
Bid for first player.
Right.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is Lords of Waterdeep. The reason I like this game mostly, excuse me.
Oh, somehow I had 6, but go ahead.
Sorry, being sick is terrible. Anyway, the reason I put Lords of Waterdeep is because the more players you have, the less agents you have, and the less you actually get to do.
Oh, I like to do stuff.
Right, and I think that I'm not a big fan. I mean, I like it at 2 players, but it's more of a game I would like to play with multiplayer. And I think 3 players is really good. 4 players is decent too, but 3 players is probably my favorite. And whenever we have 3, and I'm thinking of a game to play that's not the games that are higher, this is a good one to pick.
Yeah, I kind of like it better at 4.
Yep, that's fair. Troll. He's ready to be a 1. All right, George.
Okay, so
honorable mentions.
Honorable mention. This one is the one that I put down that wasn't specifically designed with 3 players, but it's a game that I love a great deal, and I probably won't play it with more than 3 players. So 3 players is the best number for it, just because it takes so long to play. And it is Argent the Consortium, where it's very Harry Potter. You're moving around this worker placement college, and you're trying to win over the votes of various faculty members there so that you become the Argent, I guess.
Of the Consortium?
Yeah. And you have these spells that you can cast, and you have all these resources that you're trying to get, and you can move into places in the shadow realm or the regular realm, and there's a lot going on, and there's just so much going on that on your turn it takes a long time to play the game, and with more than 3 I just won't do it. So this one makes the list because I love the game, love to play it, and that's the best count because I won't do more.
What you got, Eric? Honorable mentions.
Honorable mention. I'm going to kick over Splendor and I'm gonna make it number 6 for honorable mention. My actual number 2 is going to be Le Havre. I think it's a great game. Another game I don't mind at 2, but I like it at 3. I like how the turn order has changed on how that works. There's also a lot of buildings to remember. So at 3, there's a lot to remember. There's a lot of buildings out. You can play on other people's buildings. So I just think it plays best at 3.
That's fair. I have just a couple of honorable mentions. One is Final War. This is like a collectible card game-ish. It's actually not a good game if you break it down into what's happening. It's very unbalanced. It has that...
It's a 1.
It probably is
my only one.
It's got a lot of bad design as far as what's happening. It is incredibly fun, though, what's happening. And the base set actually is playable up to 3 players, and it's just so fun to play it with 3 people. Like, when we played it with 3 and stuff, like, it's really interesting because one person's doing really bad because the game is very lucky.
They got beat up by some random...
Yeah, the event deck is
event.
It's just a bunch of events, and when you flip it over, that's your card for the event, and it might be a bugbear army that attacks you. But then Eric goes and he flips over. It's like a merchant decides to give you 10,000 coins for free.
Yeah.
It's really bad in the design, but the actual game is fun. And then at the end of the event deck, basically you just beat the crap out of each other.
Then it's Final War.
Yeah, it's in the Final War. And typically if you're playing 2 players and one person gets really beat down because of the event deck, they're pretty much gone unless you dice them with the final combat rolls. But in a 3-player game, you can kind of like, help me out, duel up on the person and stuff. It's kind of neat. And the second game is very simple, and that's Win, Lose, Banana. It's such a crap game, but it's hilarious.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, basically you just shuffle up 3 cards. You can do this at home with any 3 cards. It's a win card, a lose card, and a banana. Whoever has the banana flips it over, and they have to... The other people have to talk to them and say, I've got the win card. Or maybe you flip over the win and whoever has the banana. I don't remember.
Either
Oh,
way.
yeah.
It works out the same.
Right, yeah.
One person flips over the card, and the other two have to convince them
By shouting.
By shouting.
Usually.
No, I've got the win card. No, I've got the no. Excuse me.
It's all
Or I'm the banana.
It's
whatever it is.
It's metagaming.
I'm so sick. I can't even think. It's a funny game that you can play with anything.
You play it several times in a row, and the person's like, "No, last time I told you I was a banana. No, and you didn't pick me, and you were wrong."
Because that logic makes no sense.
Yeah, the entire game makes no sense.
Yeah, you're just arguing for the sake of arguing, and then you pick somebody based on how well you don't want them to hate you afterwards.
Yeah, and that's it.
It's hilarious. All right, so what's your number one?
Number one,
George,
for top 3-player game is This War of Mine, and that game is actually designed, and it says any number of people can play this game because you just make decisions as a group as to which as to what each character in the game does. But that's terrible. That really the game always plays with 3 characters in this house. So if you play with 3 players, everyone has their character that they control, and that just feels so much better.
Well, right, because you might not agree with the decision, but they do it anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the best way to play this game. Highly recommended. Fantastic storytelling game.
Oh man.
Oh, it's so deep.
I got it. Just haven't played it.
Do you have it?
I do.
When did you get this?
I got it at Origins.
Oh, for Math Trade stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, I so want to play this.
I got the Kickstarter stuff.
Because I played the video game.
All the expansions. Yeah, we should play.
You got all the expansions too.
Like I really like the video game, and I wonder how much is directly translated. Oh yeah,
the feeling is there. Yeah. Oh man,
because it puts you in these really. Do you want to shoot this 8-year-old in the face? Or
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's very like both decisions suck.
Right. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Which one do you want to do?
It's great. We'll play it.
What's your number one, Eric?
Number one, Fury Dracula.
Yeah.
You can't play it one player. Doesn't make sense, right? Dracula always wins. But you can play it. You can play it 2. But we played it 2 before. I didn't end up liking it. One person plays Dracula. The other person would play 4 different characters, and it's just a lot to keep track of.
I would think with
one
player, Dracula would never win because you would just find him every time.
Well, it depends on which side you play.
You know where he is. You always know where he is.
No.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Good. 5 players. Everybody gets 1 character because there's 4 investigators trying to find Dracula.
Yeah.
That kind of felt like you didn't have enough to do on your turn. At 2 players, 1 person plays 4 different characters, and that is way too much. Each character has their own hand of cards, so didn't end up liking that at all. So at 3 players, at 4 players, it's kind of weird. Somebody plays 2, other people play 1. Don't like that. No. But at 3 players, I think that's where it's best at. The 2 good guys, they play 2 characters each. So
does it actually play?
Plays 1 to 5.
Does it play 5?
Mm-hmm.
I think 5. They're almost. Did you say 5?
Yes.
Okay. Wait. I was listening to Eric, and everything said hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
In a coffin.
That's fair.
It makes sense. It's sort of the same reason that I chose This War of Mine, because it's that's the player count that makes the most sense.
Right.
Yeah. My number 1 is Lewis and Clark, which is a game Eric had on his list, and obvious reasons. As you're playing the game, everything that you do kind of matters on the badges that the player to your left and to your right have face up in front of them on the cards that they spent, and it just works really well to be able to interact with all the players of the game.
Absolutely.
And I think that is one of the games where you add another player and it dramatically increases the lead.
Time.
Absolutely.
And then
for
5
no reason.
is almost. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
It plays up to 5.
Yeah.
Never play it up.
No.
We did that. Oh my gosh.
So long.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite games. And 3 players. This is the game when I think we have 3 people. What do we do? And I really wish we'd do this, and we never do. But we have so many new games that we're playing, so it's really hard to go back.
Oh yeah. I'm so down to play that though. I love that game.
Dude, it's so good. So good.
Well, one of the top games.
Only bad thing, 1s look like 7s.
We talked about that, yeah.
How many 7s are in the game though?
I don't know.
I haven't enough.
There's so many 7s.
There are no 7s in the game.
They all look like 7s.
I think he's making a good point, but So real quick before they end this, do you want to go over your short list of games? I have a couple I want to mention. They're not really honorable mentions, but they're just short list items.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead. I made a list of 10 games. So
On the short list.
yeah. So shall I just go through them all now?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So I had at number 10, I had a game called Pirate versus Pirate. I think you know that one, which is like Ninja versus Ninja, but it's 3 players. You have 3, triangle-shaped board with your pirates that run around and get gold and just kill each other by dice rolls, and it's just pure fun. And then my number 9, I have a game called Kryptos, which is a deduction game made for 3 players as well. And you have cards, and you're playing the cards out and trying to deduce what card is not in the game. So as you go along, you get more and more information, and it's just a simple, straight deduction game. My number 8 is a game called Guild Quest, which was, I think it showed up at, I don't know, maybe 2011 or something, Gen Con or something, and it was just one booth, and these French guys were selling this game, and I don't think they sold very many of them.
You got the only copy.
I've never seen this game again ever, but it's actually a very fun game that is very much like Pixel Tactics, where you have an array of cards, and the ones in front are fighting like melee against the other people, and the ones in the back are they're doing like spells and stuff like that. All the cards have different abilities that go off, and you're trying to get these points, and there's 3 players, and it's really, really good, and never seen it. Anyway,
man, we should do like a top 5 almost hidden gem list.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I've got number 7 is Eggs of Ostrich, which is a card game, again made for 3 players, where you have these bags that you go out and collect ostrich eggs with, and if you overload your bags, they're gonna rip.
Oh, I dig it.
So it's kind of a bluffing, play your cards face down kind of game. You're gonna go out, and there's this many eggs available that day. So are you gonna go? Are you gonna try to get it? And if you do, and only 2 of you do it, you're gonna divide that number of eggs by 2. And is that gonna be too much for the bag that you used? But if all 3 of you go, it'll all fit, no problem.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. It's a little Japanese game, Eggs of Ostrich.
Is that an only for 3 players as well, or is that
yes?
Okay,
3-player game. And then number 6 is a game. This was at Gen Con 2014, and this guy was selling them. I don't think this has ever shown up anywhere else.
Another one that you only have,
called Bunny Money Gunny. And you have these bunnies that you play out into a row in front of 3 cards, and the cards are either gunning, or they're money, or they're I don't know, bunny. Well, bunny card. And what happens is they each have an ability, and so the bunny card, if you're in the bunny card, you can move one of your bunnies in line from one position to a different line. And if you do the money card, you're going to get points, and if you get 5 points, you win the game. And the gunny, if you win the gunny card, then you shoot another bunny and just take them out. So and this is a game that is so simple, and there's nothing to it, made just for 3 players. I enjoy it so much. It came with 5 little meeples, and I've almost never bling out my games like personally, like making something for it.
Oh yeah.
But with this one, I got rid of the meeples and actually took little wooden blocks and painted little bunnies on them.
Ah.
And play with those. And I mean, I'm always going to keep this game. It's fantastic. Never seen it out there.
Huh.
Bunny Money Gunny.
Cool.
I think it's a print and play. You can download it. Great game. 3 players.
Bring it over.
Okay. And then my honorable mention was one. It was honorable mention because it's not strictly a 3-player game, but it plays best with 3 players, I think, and it's called Lucky's Misadventures. It's a deck building game where in the game you have 3 means of instantly winning. And so if you have 3 players, one of you can go, for each of those and maybe win the game that way, but that hardly ever happens. Usually just win the game by running out of time.
Kind of reminds me of Innovation.
Okay.
Have you ever played that?
I have not.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. It's really weird. It's like an engine building game where you look at other people and they do stuff, and you're like, you broke the game. And then you do stuff, and you're like, I broke the game. It's like, everyone's breaking the game.
Yeah, making your own rules.
Yeah, this this is one that has great art. It's sort of a cross between Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz in a sort of creepy kind of way. Yeah, it's a great deck builder.
Cool. Eric, did you have any on your short list you wanted to mention, or are you good?
I do not.
I just have two. One is Mage Knight. I probably think the game is dramatically shorter with two players.
I was definitely better at 2.
It's definitely better at 2, but I don't like typically to commit that much time to a game when it's 2 players.
Only one other person.
Yeah, it's like, and it's mostly just the culture of our gaming group and what we do.
Yeah.
And so I feel like 3 players is a really good amount of people, because anything past that, it's like 65 hours.
Oh yeah.
But and the other one is the only reason I put it on my short list, because we haven't played it at 3, I just know I would like it best at 3, and that's Terraforming Mars. It was really good at 2 players.
It was good at 3 or 4. It's all the same amount of time.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
You said you haven't played it at 3. You just know you would like it best at 3.
Yeah, but just
Right.
so just based on what's going on, because almost like the same amount of actions happen from start to finish,
Yeah.
and the more players divvy up those actions. And since I'm not a big player of 2-player games, 3 players gives you the most
Actions
amount of playing cards and
with
doing
the
stuff.
most amount of people.
Right.
Versus, yeah.
So it's more of a logic
Okay.
than it is
Yeah.
I would probably still enjoy it. We played it at 5 and I really enjoyed it then. I liked it even more when we played with 2, but I just love having a 3rd or 4th player there.
Okay.
And I think I would just get to do more in the game with 3 players than in 4 players.
Well, I mean, I haven't played Tapestry at 3, but I'm sure I would like it best at 3.
Let's see if they already have that on there. What is this? Best was 0.
I'm gonna rate Tapestry as a 3-player game.
Yeah.
If you're watching this
Before
video, check out the other video about the Tapestry controversy, and you'll get what I'm saying. It says best with
callback.
none, and that's just because it hasn't been determined.
Right.
Well, fair.
It's always funny to look at Board Game Geek, and it's like community says 1 to 3, but best with.
Yes.
And if it hasn't been voted that much, it's like best with none. This game sucks.